Does it feel like
we'll get off here so we can no stray balls hit you.
Does it feel like year 12?
Feels like year one, to be honest with you. I mean, every day or every year, the first day of practice, it's just, that energy's there, the butterflies are there, the, anticipation's there. So yeah, this feels like year one to me, not year 12.
It's a young team,
Yeah.
a lot younger than you've had the last couple of years. Does that change anything from your perspective,
Yeah.
the way you have to approach it?
Yeah, we have to do a lot more stopping, a lot more teaching, a lot more correcting, a lot more drills to build habits, and and not that that's not important with a veteran team as well, but you have to. I think the attention to detail with a younger team is you have to show them, number one, when the mistake happens, and hopefully then that carries over to the next day when maybe they make the same mistake, but you don't have to correct it because they recognize it before you even correct it. And then hopefully day 3, the mistake doesn't happen. I mean, it's a process, and habit building is a process, and that's what we're in the process of doing, especially with some of our young guys, and more so on the defensive end than the offensive end. Look, these guys are all gifted offensive players. They wouldn't be here, if they weren't. But defensively, sometimes, being the best player on their high school team, maybe they weren't asked to guard the best player on the other team, or they didn't have to guard a really talented guy in high school. Well, in college, they're going to have to, in Pac-12, they're going to have to guard talented guys. So the defensive transition from high school basketball to college basketball is always the biggest.
Did Costa Rica breed the results you were hoping along with those summer practices?
In certain cases, it did. I mean, again, the competition wasn't what we needed it or wanted it to be, but that's, it was just a result of where we went. I think there's some great benefits in terms of our bonding, our getting to know each other, and our off-the-court kind of chemistry, and our on-the-court. I thought in Costa Rica, one of the positive things that happened with even the blowouts was we played unselfish basketball offensively. At garbage time, when the game was in the balance, I thought our guys still tried to play the right way. So there's some really good things that came out of that, but what didn't come out of it, I think we probably get more going against each other in practice than we got out of those games. And that's where the 10 practices were beneficial. And I can't imagine where we would be today if we didn't have the Costa Rica trip. Like, where we are today is light years ahead of where we would be if we didn't have those 10 practices this summer.
I want to ask about Eli Parquet, senior now, does all those little things. I know you love to preach.
Yeah.
As a senior, he's kind of a quiet guy.
Yeah, he is.
Does he have to be more vocal for this team this year?
Yes, he does. Eli and I have talked about that. And, again, sometimes, growth only happens when, you get outside of your comfort zone. Eli's comfort zone is to be quiet. Some guys' comfort zone is to talk all the time. We got a few of those, but we got to talk on the floor, and that's where Eli's. I think he's made some progress in that area.
With him, he did pretty well offensively last year in limited chances. Do you need more from him on offense? Does he need to look for a shot more?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think Eli just needs to take good shots, just like he did last year. The reason he had a good year offensively last year is he took good shots. He didn't force things. And I've said this, I mentioned this to Eli in our meeting that I had with him, last week. I thought he did a good job last year as I watched more film from last year's team. He made some really good plays for us at the end of shot clocks when the ball was in his hands and, 5 seconds to go and he's got to make a play. He's capable of making plays. So we know he can do that at the end of the shot clock, but he doesn't need to do anything outside of just who he is, and he doesn't need to be somebody that he's not. Just take great shots, take care of the ball, make the right decisions at the right times, and that's what we're really trying to teach and preach right now is make good decisions offensively, and when you make good decisions, good things happen.
You had a point guard last year that played heavy minutes, and then Keyshawn could step in. Assuming Keyshawn's the guy this year, who kind of runs the offense when he's not in the game, and is that something you got to figure out here in the preseason?
I look at our point guard position as a kind of a three-headed monster. Keyshawn and KJ and Julian. All three of those guys are very capable. Keyshawn obviously has more comfort level in the program, in the terminology, in everything that we're doing because he's been here for 3 years. So his comfort level and execution level might be a little bit higher than KJ's and Julian's right now, and it should be, But KJ and Julian are going to be big parts of it as well. So I look at it as a three-headed monster, not one guy taking over for McKinley, right? Keyshawn certainly is capable, but KJ and Julian are capable as well. And those guys will sometimes play together in the backcourt as well. I mean, Eli's, obviously we know how good a defender he is. We can play a three-guard lineup at times. Not that we'll do that all the time, but I look at it as a three-pronged approach when it comes to replacing McKinley. And not just one guy, so there's not like an heir apparent. But Keyshawn's doing some really, really good things. Hearing his voice has been really good. He's again, I've mentioned it before, he's had a great off season, and I think he's poised for a breakout year.
Obviously, you're focused on the guys out there, but I'm curious about Javon and just kind of how his recovery's coming along.
Coming along, I keep waiting for. Every time I think it's going to be a week or two, it's going to be 3. I don't until the guy's ready to go. He's not ready to go, and so we're anxious to get him out there, but again in my meeting with him, I told him you can't get a little bit pregnant. You can play or you can't play. And right now he can't play. He can do some things, but he can't play. So we're looking forward to the day he can play. I don't know when that's going to be. Obviously, that's going to be dependent upon his knee and the doctors and the trainers. And I stay out of that. I just, when they tell me, hey, he's ready to play, okay. Then I can answer questions about Javon. But until then, I don't know. But we're anxious for him, and I know he's anxious.
Have you sat down much with Quincy Allen since his surgery? How is he mentally, spiritually after that kind of setback?
I think he's doing okay. It's hard. It's not easy being on crutches. I mean, it'll be nice when those are done because now he can walk around and at least be one of the guys, But yeah, it's difficult. But Quincy's processed it. I think he's accepted it, and I think he's doing okay. I don't have any reason to believe otherwise. But Quincy's a tough kid. He's a good kid. Comes from a great family. He's got good support, from his teammates. And even though he's from D.C., so he's a long ways away from home, but he knows his teammates care about him. And our training staff, I think, does a really good job of giving these guys a lot of attention when they are hurt and helping them through the rehab process. So that's some of the things sometimes that goes unnoticed is the job that Raleigh Klingsmith and his staff do for the kids that aren't playing. Guys like Javon and guys like Quincy, because they're spending a hell of a lot more time with them than I am, or even our coaches are. And Javon's a little different, obviously, because we plan on him coming back and playing this year. Quincy, we know, won't. But what's kind of I look at Evan Batty out there, and if Evan doesn't have the redshirt year as a freshman, he's not out there. What a blessing it is to have a fifth-year senior like Evan Batty. So if we can kind of fast forward the clock with Quincy on that, I think in the long run it might be a better thing for him in terms of his development as a player, because he can watch and see and learn this year without burning a year of eligibility and hopefully getting back healthy. He's an elite level athlete. That's one thing we found out in 5 practices we had with him.
On Evan, he made a couple threes. Is he like a three-point threat at this point?
Absolutely, yeah. Evan's worked on his three-point shot a lot. He's a true inside-outside guy. That's, Lawson's working on that as well. Not that we're going to run plays to get Evan threes, but it's going to come as a result of who's guarding him and his ability to stretch the floor and his ability to put the ball on the floor is something Evan's really, really good at. So I don't expect him to take, high volume threes, but when he's open, his feet are set, And again, one of the things we have is we have what we call green light, yellow light, red light shooting. So through our shooting drills that we do between now and November 9th, guys will either earn their green light to shoot from three or they won't.
How do those work?
So we have a system in place that if they get their green light, anytime they're open from three, they let it fly. You've got the green light to let it go. If they don't get the green light and there's a second tier of shooting, it's all done based on percentages. They have the yellow light. Yellow light means you can let it go, but if it doesn't go in, you come out of the game. So caution. Then there's a red light where you better not shoot. And if you do, you're coming out of the game whether it goes in or not. You've not earned the right to shoot. So it's not subjective. It's all objective. Again, and that's why I tell our players, they tell me who can shoot threes. I don't tell them who can shoot threes. And Evan's gotten his green light, so when he's got his feet set, let it fly. Because he's proven it in practice. And because a lot of guys think they can shoot, but the numbers don't say they can shoot. We make that pretty clear to them.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah,
Appreciate you.
thank you.